Live from St. Louis, Missouri,
It's the FasterFreedom Show.
with your hosts, Sam Prim and Lucas Walls.
Talking about freedom?
What's going on, everyone? It is your host, Lucas Walls,
And not Sam Prim.
honorary co-host, Mr. Matt Sieb. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm good. I'm ready for my intro to be cooked up by our special creators.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
We probably should have one for when
like-
you co-host.
on the back burner. Put it in the CD shelf. We'll pull it out when we need it.
For sure, for sure. We got Sam still on vacation, so on the beach in Mexico with his family. So we got you again today.
Yeah, a lot of sneaker prints in the sand.
Yes.
He might be the only person that wears sneakers on the
Yeah,
beach.
it's the worst. It is the worst. Sandals and socks in the sand, and it just drives me insane. And he does it in pictures. He has family pictures with socks on the beach, and I'm like, Prim, come on now.
That's on him.
I know. I
That's
think
on
he's
him.
evolving. He's evolving, like we all are.
Yeah,
You know,
one day.
continuous improvement. That's
Yeah.
what we're about here.
1% better. We haven't hit that 1%
Sure
for Sam
haven't.
to
Sure
change.
haven't. All right, guys, we got a great show for you guys today. We'll get it kicked off with a little March Madness talk, and then we got an amazing guest, Mr. Josh Wilson, in from out of town, and I'll get into a more in-depth intro on him in a little bit. Before we get to that, let's kick it off with a question for you, Matt.
Yeah.
Is your bracket busted?
It's not busted.
Okay.
But we started off a little rocky. We're early in, so.
So who do you got in your Final Four? Let's talk that.
Final Four, North Carolina.
Okay.
I have
Still alive.
still alive. I have Auburn.
Yeah,
I-
that's a sneaky good pick.
I have Purdue,
Ooh, tough.
and I have a super sleeper, and NC State,
Oh,
number
wow.
11, and they won last night. So
Well,
I'm
that's
alive.
step one.
I'm alive.
Yeah.
yeah. We got a couple more rounds to go to live that prophecy. So
Yeah, I like the Purdue pick. So were they a 1 seed last year?
They were.
And lost in the first round.
They were.
The last team to do that, I believe, was Virginia. 1 seed, lost in the first round. Next year, they won the title. So
Yeah.
hopefully Purdue can follow up with that.
So I have a trend for you.
Yeah.
You ready for this trend?
Tell
There's
me.
only one more chance that we can get it. So,
Okay.
So over the last 3 years, there's been a 1 or 2 seed that has lost to a 15 or 16, but they
Okay.
all have a very common theme with their names. They
Okay,
all
tell us
have,
about that.
Phallic, so the male reproductive
Okay.
organ. Let's go with that. But
Tell us what that means,
Yeah,
yeah.
in 2021, Oral Roberts
Okay.
beat Ohio State.
All right.
So that's a 15-2. We had St. Peter's.
Okay.
So you're Peter, Lucas.
I get
beat
it.
Kentucky in 2022, and we had Fairleigh Dickinson last year. and
Yeah.
They upset Purdue.
What about Longwood State?
So
Are they on there?
So yesterday we had 2 of them lose. So we had St. Peter's and we had Morehead State.
More.
We had
even
we had
worse.
3 opportunities this year, which is impressive.
Yeah.
But
So
we
this
got-
is backed by science.
It's backed by science.
Okay,
Yeah, 3 years running. First time, it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Second time, we're getting a little closer, but a third time, I mean, that's math.
Yeah, that's math at this point. It's just straight facts.
So we got Longwood today.
Okay.
8:20 p.m.
Okay.
And they're gonna upset Houston. I'm calling it.
Oh,
I'm
no,
calling
they're-
it here.
They're like a 25-point underdog, so we'll
Hey,
see.
that's the beauty of March.
All right, so who do you have winning out of that Final Four?
I have Auburn.
Oh, wow. I love it. They're tough,
They're
dude.
tough.
Bruce Pearl is a very good
Yeah,
coach.
they're in a conference of gladiators. There's a
Yeah.
lot of tough teams, but they're gonna prevail.
He used to coach for Southern Indiana, which was in the conference that I played in college.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they were really good. He won a national championship, D2
Really?
national championship with them.
That's amazing.
It's super cool. So you got Auburn winning. So my Final Four, I got several SEC teams.
Okay.
I guess I'm a little biased there.
Why are
but-
you biased?
Well, we're SEC
Tell 'em
country these
Tell
days.
them the team you follow that's not in the tournament.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the Mizzou Tigers, right?
Yeah.
They have not won a game this year, though,
Tough-
unfortunately.
tough run.
So I got, who do I have? So I have Alabama, which is
Okay.
probably my biggest sleeper pick. Kentucky, who lost their
Yes.
first game yesterday. So I'm not busted, but I'm getting there. UConn
Okay.
and Tennessee. And I got UConn, Tennessee national championship with UConn taking it home.
Okay. You went chalk. Those are chalk picks. Those are the blue bloods.
I don't know about that, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee's not really known as a basketball school, but they have been recently. So
Yeah.
It's been fun, man. March Madness is a good time of year. We were talking about this the other day where it used to be a bigger deal in our lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stuff changes. We evolve. But, man, we used to spend all day watching basketball these Thursday and Fridays, whether we're in college or just getting started in our professional careers, taking sick days. Like, this was like our life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
why do you need Thursday, Friday off again?
Doctor.
So,
Yeah,
two
doctors
appointments
back to back
all day.
all day.
Yeah.
It's serious.
And I usually need a doctor by Saturday.
Yes, yeah, an actual one.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're at the point of our lives where it's still fun. But man, I didn't even remember it was opening day yesterday, and it was just on the TVs in the office. I'm like, oh, that's fun.
That's because they played the first game at 3:30 in the morning. There's a lot of backlash with the MLB with that. Did you hear about that?
No.
So Shohei Ohtani, superstar, went to the Dodgers, and they played their first game in Asia. So they
interesting.
had the time for the people to go
Yeah.
to the game, and they broadcasted it at 3:30 in the morning. Here. So,
Interesting.
tough look for the
Yeah.
MLB, I think. But
Okay, I said opening day. That was the wrong terminology. I meant the first game of the NCAA tournament. Either way,
okay.
that was my bad.
yeah, it's all right.
All right, those are our thoughts on March Madness. Our brackets are not. I'm actually tied for first in the office pool here, so
Things will change.
Things will definitely change. Anyway, good start for me and you. Okay, let's transition over to Freedom Fest.
Yeah.
We want to continue talking about this for the next, I would say, month and a half here until the big day arrives. You want to tell everyone on that's watching about Freedom Fest here?
Yeah, so Freedom Fest, May 9th and 10th. We've been talking about this for the last 3 years now, and we're trying to, one, find the right time to do it, and make sure we have the resources in place. But we have 7 amazing speakers. So we're talking about speakers that have property management, tenant management expertise. We have acquisitions people. We have Sam and Lucas, the $50 million men. We have Kaola, who's one of our amazing community coaches. But our goal is we've been to 50, 100, you name it, in-person events, and we leave scratching our heads, and it's like,
Or we leave feeling abused because they're trying to sell us in the back of the room,
Right.
and won't let us leave. The doors are locked.
right.
Yeah.
So we're trying to take the same love and nurturing that we do in our community every day, and we're trying to do that in a 2-day event. So we're going to have this playbook. We're going to walk through it. We're going to educate, but we're also going to give you actionable steps. So we have a awesome lineup, awesome speakers, awesome workshops set up, and we're going to leave people with the next step and the next step after that, and hopefully that leads them to either starting their journey or scaling it.
Yeah, man, we got some good groups there. We got Sam and I up there for leadership, mindset, inspiration, team building. Then we got Tessa, property management, Matt Lauman, flipping, Kaola, MTR expert, Dusty, construction expert, and then Shelly, traditional agent expert. So we got a lot of different facets that we're going to bring to this
You're hitting
amazing
all
event.
the buckets.
Yes, for
So.
sure. Cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you want to tell them how to find it?
Yeah, you tell me how to find it.
Yeah. So FasterFreedomFest.com.
We'll
go
throw it
there.
in the chat.
Yeah, and obviously not a pressure sales pitch, but part of the way that we're going to be able to implement, take action, give people those next steps is we're limiting it to 200 people. So we want it to be tight. We want to be able to provide the resources and do those small breakout groups and give people the love they need.
Yeah, and for a few $100 or whatever it is, it's
Yep.
just a smoking deal that could change your life. That's
Yeah.
worth a few $100 to me.
For sure.
Cool. Well, appreciate you guys chiming in the chat. Keep chiming in. Let us know where you're watching from, listening from. Ginger's out there talking about the Jayhawks, the little injury prone, but they won.
snuck
They
by.
snuck one out. Yes.
Against
So
Samford.
they're still alive, but they got problems.
Do you have any idea where Samford is?
Texas?
Okay, we'll go with it.
Is it? No. Where? It's in Alabama.
Okay.
I've heard.
You're in the ballpark.
Yeah, it's in the South. Yeah.
Perfect.
SEC, right? So, yeah, let us know where you're from. Let us know if you got any questions. And definitely know once we get our guests up here in the next couple seconds about questions for Josh as well. So, with that said, let's get into our guests. So, get ready to have your minds blown, all right? On deck, we have a force of nature, Mr. Josh Wilson. This guy's the real deal. He built up a rental portfolio to over $25 million and then transitioned those skills and talents into business acquisitions. He has hundreds of team members across 4 states, and that's 6 different businesses under contract on his 7th up in Chicago. So that's going to be cool to see and talk about. Josh is the guy who sees opportunities where others see obstacles. He builds, he buys, he conquers. And just when you think he's done it, he's looking over the horizon for the next big win. So although this man thrives in the boardroom, he's a dad first, right? We talked about his kids earlier, raising 2 kids, Gabby and Preston, to be more than heirs to the throne. He's grooming them to be game changers for tomorrow. So buckle up, because when Josh Wilson speaks, it's not just talk. It's a masterclass in empire building, living fiercely, and leaving legacies that last. So let's all welcome Mr. Josh Wilson. Come on in, my man. Woo! Cue the applause. Cue it. Cue it.
How are you?
Good.
What's up, Josh?
How are you?
Yeah. Got the headphones in.
here.
Yeah. Looking fresh today, my man.
Man, always have to look good.
Yeah.
Like Dion says, you look good, feel good, play good.
Yes,
so.
man. What a cool story that's been so far. But anyway, welcome, Josh. I think the coolest part about this is that Josh and I have only talked in person for a total of 7 minutes now. Maybe?
Pretty much, yeah. 10 maybe.
So Matt and I get to know Josh at the same time as the audience does here. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm genuinely interested in your story and how you built your businesses.
Absolutely, yeah. I got started really early on real estate. I tell people, I was talking last night at your event, I'm a recovering real estate addict.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of real estate. I sold that real estate over the past couple of years, and I went into business acquisitions, but that's not really how I got my entrepreneur itch. I'll tell you a story. I was about 7 years old, and I was on a cruise with my grandparents. You ever been on a cruise before?
I have.
Okay.
They're wonderful.
Cruiseless.
Do you know the little card they give you when you go on a cruise? Like
Yeah.
I call it like the free money card.
Yeah.
It's really not free, but at the time.
fun coupons.
That's it. There you go. So, we had these cards, and I was 7 years old, and back then, kids could not get a card. So I'd go on the ship, and I was using the card, and I was swiping the card, buying all these gifts, buying all this candy for my friends on the boat. And they didn't have cards. They had cash. So they would give me cash, but they would add on like $1 or $2 to the transaction. So at the end of the cruise, my grandfather got this huge bill, like gigantic bill. It's like $500. He was just like beating me up. What is going on? What did you do? How did you spend all this? And I'm like, oh, no, Papa, it's okay, here. And I pulled out the wad of cash and I dropped it down on the table. The bill was like $500. I think I had like $700 in cash. So I ended up making like $200 on the transaction.
Yeah.
He goes, son, you're an entrepreneur.
You got something here.
You just made $200.
How old were you then?
I was 7.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the itch. I was like, wow. So
Yeah.
I learned how to transact and how to use essentially other people's money or my grandfather's money to make more money.
Yeah.
So I made $200 off his $500. That's how I got my itch.
That is really cool,
Yeah.
man.
Did your grandpa book another cruise?
He did. We went every Thanksgiving after that.
Did you do that same thing?
I did
Yeah.
a few times after that. Absolutely. Then after that, I realized, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to get my own job and own money and try to do this like legitimately.
Yeah, you're like 19.
Exactly.
Coupons.
Yes.
Like, all right.
Yes, I got to cut it at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
So that's how I got started, man. And it was all uphill from there. I was actually a DJ at one point.
Nice.
Believe it or not.
Was it house music type?
No, this was I was a wedding DJ.
Yeah.
So
wedding singer.
I was the wedding singer.
Yeah.
Yes. I was a wedding DJ. I emceed. But here's how I got the M&A itch or the business acquisition itch. So I was a DJ. And I ended up building this company to a wedding a DJ company, a DJ company, videography company, and a photography company all in one. Then I ended up selling it to my employee and his dad, and I ended up making like $25,000. And that was the spark for me. I was like, wow, I built something from nothing, and then made $25,000, and I was like 19.
Yeah,
so
that's big money when you're 19.
Yeah, I was huge, and I blew it all in like 30 days. So. Yeah,
What'd you spend it on?
Man, I don't even remember, but I think it was like the bar.
Yeah.
I think I ran up really big tabs.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
cruises.
Probably cruises.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was using it to do more cruise cards.
Yeah.
I was losing money on cruises, and I have a bad story. I'm gonna share with you. So
Sure.
my brother, so they had a casino in the cruise ship. my brother was 16, and that was the
when I
limit.
hear casino and Matt Sieb, something's not
dicey.
gonna work out.
So anyway, I don't know if it was 16 or 18, but whatever the time frame was, I was 2 years younger. I wasn't able to play, so I took my brother's ID and I played blackjack.
Oof.
And I lost money.
Yeah. Ooh. That just makes
bad.
my stomach
That's
curl
bad.
already.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Talk about 19. So 19 had this business. You sold it.
Yeah.
I saw that you went to college, but it wasn't the right fit for you. Is that the case?
Yeah, no, man. College was just not for me. I think I went there, got a bunch of student loans, partied my butt off, and then left and came back, and then decided I needed to actually get back in the world and actually do something. And so I actually went and started a property management company. I worked for someone else for about a year. And I learned the ropes, and I said, you know what, I can do this myself. He was using spreadsheets and manually entering in transactions, and I was like, there's software out there for this. So I found the software, found one guy that was interested in letting me actually run out one of his properties, and then the rest is history. He had a bunch of properties after that. He started feeding me more units. Next thing you know, we're up to 500 units. Had a huge office in New Orleans, and I still have that company till this day. And that company has gotten me through literally my entire life up until this point, and it's got me through real estate transactions, through business acquisitions. It's my baby. So
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Super cool. So did you fly up from New Orleans to be on this show and to see some other cool people
I was
around?
here really for Sam. Let's get it out there. No, yes, I did. Yeah, man, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
The food here is actually exceptional.
Good, man.
I really enjoyed it. I was really worried. Every time I go out of town, New Orleans, we have exceptional food
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So. Coming here, I was, really concerned, and then, had a great host, and he took me around, and it's been great.
Who was that host? These guys probably know him.
Yeah,
Or
Mike.
and her.
Yeah, Mike Kitco.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they were getting on me yesterday.
Yeah.
I think I say Kiko.
Yeah.
And it's like Kitco, like a Kit Kat. So,
Yeah. Well, Mike and Angie are in the room here, so if you got questions for them, put them in the chat. All right, so you're in New Orleans, you're building this property management company, and then at some point you decide, hey, I want to own some of this real estate myself. Is that pretty accurate to say?
That's 100% accurate. It got to a point where I knew that in order for me to create wealth, I had to start buying my own real estate.
Yeah.
I was managing hundreds of units and probably hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate for other people. And that actually helped, though, because I was able to leverage that expertise and use that to go out and acquire my own. Because at the time, I didn't, if you go out and you're trying to borrow, somebody else's money or go to a bank, for example, right? They're going to laugh at you most of the time if you don't have a track record. So for me, my track record was that I was able to show them, hey, I know how to manage properties.
Yeah.
I know how to do evictions. I know how to do make-readies, paint
Yep.
properties, the whole 9 yards. And that was to my advantage, and that really allowed me to explode my portfolio.
Nice. So when did you buy your first rental property, would you say? What year was that?
Yeah, so that was 2007, right before the crash.
Okay.
Talk about getting a baptism.
Yeah. Tell us how you
man.
navigated all that.
That was tough.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. It was a really tough time. But the great thing is that I saw a lot of what not to do. I saw a lot of investors that we were managing properties for at the time. They went bankrupt. And the biggest reason was it was over leveraging, short-term debt, not having enough runway to get out when things went sour. And so you imagine, right? You have a 12-month. You have a 12-month loan, and your notes come and due, and then all of a sudden the values just plummet to the ends of the earth like it did in 2008. And these guys were left holding the bag, and they couldn't get out of these loans, and so the bank would take them back, and then the banks would sell them pennies on the dollar, and then we came in. I came in, and then we started scooping those things up.
Yeah.
And we were buying. Here's another thing too about market valuations that I think back, because we're in this kind of weird situation now with interest rates. I always say just buy the deal. If it pencils out, if it makes sense, it cash flows, just buy the deal. Don't worry about the interest rate environment and all that stuff. Buy the deal, get into long-term debt, and just hold on and ride the waves. Because it's going to go up, it's going to go down. Back in 2008, I remember specifically we were buying properties for, New Orleans, we're buying properties for $25,000, $30,000 for a duplex, which is really, really inexpensive in New Orleans. Now, some of those same properties are going for $500,000,
Wow.
$400,000, And this is a funny story because I remember I was talking to my partners at the time. It was about a year or two later. We had a foreclosure company that was feeding us deals left and right. So we were buying up all these deals. And I remember one day the rep called us and he said, "Hey, I got this great deal in this street." I remember it was on Constant Street in New Orleans. And he's like, "I got this great deal." And he's like, the price was like 75 grand. And we all looked at each other and we're like, 75 grand? Are you crazy? We've been buying them for 30. He's like, "Well, the values are going up." I'm like, "We're not paying that."
Yeah.
Thinking back, like how stupid we were.
Right.
Now that property today is worth $750,000.
Wow, that's crazy, isn't it?
Recency bias.
Just
Yeah.
buy it, hold it, and just wait and ride the cycles. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And wait, you can cash out when it's up or just wait it out when it's down.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
amazing. That's great advice. I think very similarly to that. So super cool. So you're building a property management company.
Yep.
You're building your own rental portfolio as well. You got that up to $25 million. Was that specifically single family rentals, duplexes, stuff like that?
Yeah, pretty much majority. It was started out with single families, then duplexes. Went to 10 plexes, 20 plexes. Our biggest deal to date, we did a 56 unit deal, and we still have that, but we're selling off some of those assets as of now. So
Okay, nice. So there came a point in time where you're like, maybe this isn't my 100% passion, or there's something more out there. And then tell us about that mindset shift and what maybe triggered it.
Yeah, so it was more, a lot of real estate investors, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this, but we're equity rich and cash poor.
For sure.
We have all this equity, and it's like, man, sometimes you're like, where are we going to get the cash to pay our bills next month? And that's how it is with real estate. So I needed something that was going to allow me to have more cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was in the middle of COVID. I remember I was sitting in my hot tub because you had nothing to do during COVID. So sitting in my hot tub, and I ran across this guy on Facebook, and he was talking about business acquisitions. And I'm like, that's interesting. He was like, if I could show you how to take $150,000 and apply that as a down payment on a $1.5 million business, and show you how you can get back $150,000 to $200,000 a year in cash flow after debt service, would that interest you? And I'm like, talk to me.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. And I learned about business acquisitions, during COVID. And man, it was the best damn thing I've ever done. And it's actually allowed me to do two things. So number one, I'm still able to buy businesses, but that brings me the cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
But second to that, I still acquire real estate because when you acquire these businesses, you're going to have a huge tax problem.
Right.
Huge tax problem. So we use the real estate to offset the taxes.
Yeah.
And so a great saying is we buy the businesses to buy the cash flow, and then we take the cash flow from the businesses and we use real estate to store the cash.
Yeah.
So
I love that, man.
Yeah.
We do very, very similar thing for sure. So your first business acquisition, so you're learning about this in COVID, and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna go do it.
Yep.
Yeah, tell us what that looked like and what it was even, and where it was.
Here's the great thing is that back then, so during COVID, obviously, scary time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was in real estate. That's all I had at the time. So I was in real estate. I remember sitting in my hot tub going, oh my God, I don't know if my tenants are going to pay rent.
For sure.
And like we had a lot of tenants. And so all I kept thinking about was I was a little proactive. I actually emailed my bankers. I emailed everybody and I said, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just letting you know, I got about 6 months of runway. I can pay you for 6. After that, if we, if shit hits the fan and we can't, do anything after that, I don't know. We're going to have to come up with another plan.
Yeah.
They were like, Josh, like, we appreciate you reaching out. And so we were very proactive. And then I was watching, like, we have a software, and I was watching, all the rents started coming in. I'm like, okay, maybe that was a fluke. Maybe they don't know COVID is coming. I'm like, maybe they haven't been watching the news. And then all of a sudden, more rents started coming in. I'm like, okay, well, it really isn't that bad. So my whole fear went away about COVID and the rental situation. So that then was like, okay, now I really need to diversify.
Yeah.
I need to do something else and have another source of income. And that's when I got into business acquisitions. One thing I didn't tell you is that the first business that I bought because I was an NEMT driver way back when. So when I was trying to invest in real estate, I didn't have any money. Typical real estate investor, you don't have any money, you're using other people's money. I didn't have any money, so my first deal I bought, I was working as an NEMT driver, so that's a non-emergency medical transportation driver. I would go and bring people to appointments, doctor's appointments and all that. I did that in my spare time, and I literally didn't touch a dime from those paychecks. I put that into a separate checking account, and I saved that money to acquire real estate for down payments.
Yeah.
And then I had a banker that took a chance on me, and I kept buying real estate that way, and then eventually used OPM. Circle back, full circle, all the way back in COVID, what is the first business that I buy? non-emergency medical transportation.
Interesting.
So I used to be a driver, and now I'm a non-emergency medical transportation owner.
Yeah.
So pretty cool, you know. So,
How did knowing that business help you
Yeah.
with that first?
yeah, that did help because I knew the other thing, I didn't know a whole lot about the operations, but I knew the gist of the business. So the good thing was that I eliminated the fear of COVID and all that. We were making still really good money with real estate and the property management company. So I really didn't have a lot of fear. And I think that was to my benefit, is that I went in like cold turkey, like just thinking, okay, this is going to work. Like I didn't even think it wasn't going to work. And so lo and behold, got started, and you get in there and you start, dissecting the companies and learning, the ebbs and flows of how things operate. And, I'm happy that I didn't go in with the mindset of, I need this to work or I'm going to die, and I think that was, to my benefit. So.
Yeah. Love
Nice. So that was your first business in what year?
Yeah, that was the first business. That was in COVID. So that was 2021, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah. So 2021. Cool story about that company, man.
Tell us.
Is that when I bought that company, the guy, he sold it to me, and they were doing like $30,000 a month of net income. And I'm like, all right, this is great. Then I get into the business and I realize, holy shit, he is like driving every day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just bought myself a $30,000 job. Yep. So I quickly went into action. I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to suck it up and realize the first year I'm not going to make any money, but I'm going to put the team in place to make sure that we can operate this. I live in Louisiana. This business is in Florida.
Okay.
So, I was really far away. So I put a team in place, and we started ramping up that business and started getting the management in place, getting the operational pieces. We started doing software, so that we're literally like Uber. Like you can look on an app and see where all our vans are. You can book a trip, everything.
That's cool.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
And so some fun stuff, the financials on this, and this is what I tell people all the time. You need to have patience when you're investing. Most people give up way too soon. Like they want to drop $100,000 on a business or drop $100,000 on a property, and then they want immediate results. They want to see like immediate gratification, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So if you can just wait it out, and this is a prime example of just waiting and letting time do its thing. We bought that company, didn't make a dime first year. Second year made like $50,000, $75,000. Third year, $250,000. Fourth year, $450,000. This year, 7 figures.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
I would have never been able to realize a 7-figure net income from that company if I just gave up in the first year and said, "Yep, I made a mistake. I'm out."
Yeah.
So you just got to wait it out.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit how you found that business, and then maybe the structure on the financing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So bizbuysell.com is like the MLS of business acquisition. So I'm on there all the time. Like I'm a junkie, like just constantly looking at listings. BizBuySell is great. And then we actually, we do some of the same strategies as you guys probably do in real estate.
Yeah.
Owner finance, that's how I got my first business. So here's a cool strategy for your listeners here that they can use. So when you go to acquire a company, if the company does not have 3 years of financials readily available, or the books are not clean, it is not SBA like lendable.
Okay.
So that is to your advantage. And the reason why I say that is because then you can go in with an owner finance pitch.
Yeah.
And so that was my exact pitch. I went in originally with, hey, we're going to buy this business at this price. It was $350,000, and I'm going to go and get an SBA loan on it. I would only have to put up like $35,000. SBA is like 10% down.
Okay.
So I don't have to put up $35,000. It's nothing at the time. So great. Then I start getting the books, and I'm like, ooh, this looks really bad. I'm like, there's no way they're going to finance this business. They only had 2 years of tax returns. It was messy, just didn't make sense. But I knew the business made money based off of the P&Ls and all that. So I told them, I said, hey, sorry, there's no way they're going to lend on this. And so I think the broker knew. And so I said, look, this is my offer. I can give you $150,000 down, finance $175,000, the balance, and then call it a day, 5-year loan. Sure enough, they accepted. So I can only imagine though how that guy feels now, thinking he sold me that company, and like if he only saw the numbers we were doing today, he would just be baffled.
Yeah.
So,
but he wasn't going to be able to do that.
He wasn't. He was. That's the key, right? He was driving in the business. If you're in the day to day and you're constantly in the weeds, you're never going to be able to see the bigger picture.
Right.
So that's what he was doing, and I'm glad. Again, that was an opportunity for me.
For sure.
And just like in real estate, there's opportunities out there just like that in business acquisitions.
Yeah, we've explored a couple business acquisitions acquisitions, and from our broker that we were dealing with, he was saying that owner financing is much more prevalent in the business acquisition world than it is even in real estate.
100%, absolutely, I agree. You can go look on the MLS now, and pretty much probably, I would say 80% of them have that little checkbox that say owner financing available.
That's amazing.
Now, the terms are probably not as like, convenient as real estate where you put like 20% down. They're wanting more like 50 and 60% down. But still, at the end of the day, if you're looking at your numbers, you can acquire a company, put $100,000 down, and get 200 back that same year.
Yeah.
I mean, where else are you going to get a return like that?
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we got Josh Wilson here, business acquisition specialist. So if you got any questions for Josh, throw them in the chat, and we'll get to them shortly. So that's business number one. We're just figuring that out. 2021. In 2021, did you buy any more businesses?
I did. I bought a bunch more businesses since then. Look, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? Because everybody, they see me now. They see what we're doing and what we're building and the team we have. Like you said, we have over 150 employees across 4 states, and I'm very proud of that. And the biggest thing is that it's not always sunshine and rainbows. And I had a deal that I bought in South Florida, and it just went to hell in a handbasket really quick. I lost about $1 million that year, and that was probably one of the toughest years of my life. And it was tough. And I got through it thanks to Mike. He helped me with my mindset. Get out of that hole, and it was tough, man. I even think about it. I start talking about it. I'm like, ugh, I get this feeling in my stomach, Losing $1 million. Thank God I had it, but thank God for the real estate. So lost $1 million that year, but I always know that everything happens for a reason. I found another company in Boston. I was going through, that time and, losing all that money and bleeding $50,000, $70,000 a month. And I found this company in Boston. I was putting it out into the universe. I said, I need a deal. I need some cash flow. Found a guy. He's like, hey, man, I presented you this deal 3 years ago and you turned it down. I'm like, well, give it to me again. I'm like, I need it. So he gave me the deal, and I went through it. I looked at it, and, we ended up doing the deal. I bought it. It was the guy had $1 million SBA loan on it, and I gave him $150,000 down, and he wanted out. He was like, he just was not managing the business properly. He wanted out, and we made the deal, and it ended up working out. That deal now produces over multi-7 figures a year, and it's probably one of our best deals we've ever done.
Yeah. What type of business was that? Did you say?
That's special needs school transport.
Oh, super. Well, it's kind of similar.
It is. It's in the same vertical of transportation, which we really like.
Yeah.
Yep. So so we're trying to stay in that vertical, and there's a reason for that. We'll get into that probably towards the end, but there's a reason why we're staying in that vertical.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
So as you acquired these businesses, like, have you seen a constant of like a main issue that you're able to resolve? Is it people? Is it strategy? Is it something else out there?
I would say the biggest hurdle that we encounter is technology. Believe it or not, we have a lot of mom and pop owners that are just oblivious, or they don't want to. They don't want change, right? They don't want to adapt to change. So we come in and we implement our software, we implement our systems. And it allows us to be more efficient, and it allows us to, unfortunately, we lose, some key people sometimes. Sometimes we have to axe people, and because we don't need them.
Through the
as sad as it is,
right?
I mean, the way technology is advancing, that's just that's the issue we're facing now. So
yeah, kind of similar to real estate, like mom and pop type owners. That's where the deals probably are for the most part, and then so you're probably using a lot of owner financing to get that done because they don't have that. Do you guys have like a specific team that you put in place to help build that business out while you're there?
We do. We have. I didn't have. So when I first started, I didn't have the team that we have today. I mean,
right.
We came in and it was just myself. Now we have a full C-suite. So we have I have my COO Ara, I have CFO John. Ara's here, by the way, and she's my work wife.
I love it.
Yeah, and so
Lucas is my work wife.
Yes.
What's that?
Lucas is my work wife.
I'm the husband.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, geez, come on now.
Yeah, so we have a C-suite now, but I always didn't have a C-suite, and it's been great to have because it allows me to think big picture. It allows me to focus on what I really enjoy and love, which is being around great people, which is finding deals. And, I always say I should have been like a coach, like in football or something, because I love motivating. I love getting out there. I love motivating our team. We have a group chat. I'm on the group chat every morning, and I just love doing that. And having them allows me to do that. So, but I didn't always have that. So if you're out there and you're thinking, you're like, man, I don't have access to a C-suite. I can't afford that right now. It's okay. At some point you will. You have to get enough deals under your belt, and you'll be able to, implement the same exact strategy.
Very cool. We talked about when you started building your rental portfolio, put 20% down on a first few or whatever, and then you figured out other people's money. So at what point did other people's money come into the business acquisition world, and maybe tell the audience a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So OPM is great to use. My banker actually, another funny story, my banker in real estate actually taught me about OPM. At the time, I sat down with him, and his name was John. And I'm like, John, he's like, Josh, he's like, have you ever heard of OPM? I'm like, OPM, like, what is that? Like a drug? Like opium?
Opium?
He's like, no, not opium. It's, but actually, you know what? OPM is actually a drug.
Yeah, this is an acronym, Josh.
Yes, right. So, I ended up learning about OPM through John. And he taught me all about that, and I started using that same exact strategy into the business stuff.
Yeah.
And, I raised the capital on the business side just like I did in the real estate. I raised millions and millions of dollars on the real estate side, and I did the exact same strategy, and I've raised millions now on the business side. OPM opens up so many doors.
Yeah.
It allows me to get into deals fast, just like real estate. I'm able to show and prove to the investor, to the sellers, that we're able to close, we're able to transact. I created JW Global Enterprises, which is our holding company. I created that specifically so that I could go after larger deals. And brokers would take you seriously, sellers would take you seriously, because when you're doing this, when you're going through the motions and you're trying to buy businesses, these sellers, they're screening you just as hard as like you're screening the business, because they want to make sure you can close.
Yes.
And they
want to make sure they leave their people in a good spot too, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And they want to make sure that somebody's going to come in there and they're not just going to wipe out their entire organization, and gut it clean and start all over. So and that's not what we do. We come in there, we want to buy a good business and make it great. That's our simple philosophy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Very cool. What are some of the things that you might be looking for when you're flipping through the MLS of businesses?
So when I first got started, it was like the wild, wild west. I was looking at anything and everything.
Yeah.
And then now I'm very locked in. I'm very laser focused on what I want to actually acquire, and that's the transportation sector.
Okay.
And here's the reason why. The reason why is because as you start to grow and as you start to get companies underneath your holding company, you're going to realize that at some point there's going to have to be an exit, right? You could hold on to these forever in perpetuity, but you really you want to exit. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to exit down the road, but the reason why is that we want to have a vertical of companies, like in the transportation sector, that we can go to PE and say, hey, we have $10 million of EBITDA, or net revenue, or net cash flow, and we're all in the same vertical, which is transportation, and we have a C-suite that manage all of the entities. You can come in here and buy the enterprise company and take over and just walk in, and that's exactly what these guys like to do. They want to come in, they want to be able to buy cash flow and not have to actually physically operate the business.
Yeah.
So that's our plan. So we want to actually bring in more operators underneath our enterprise company so that we can then go out and increase our multiple. So maybe getting in the weeds a little bit, but multiples are very, very important, especially when you're dealing with, M&A and business acquisitions. Our multiple, like say for instance, you want to go in biz buy sell today, you go find a lawn care company and they're selling at a 2x multiple. 2x multiple is, say it's $1 million, and they're selling it for, it's $1 million in cash flow and they're selling it for $500,000. That's a 2x multiple. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to basically arbitrage the multiple by saying, okay, we are going to, you can go to the regular marketplace, buy a 2 or 3x multiple company, but with PE, they'll pay us 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, on your cash flow, and that's what we're trying to accomplish by bringing in more people underneath our enterprise company.
Yeah,
increasing the cash flow.
I love that. I think a lot of different ways when you get that big and can bring PE involved. You can bring them in for a portion or the whole thing, right? And exit. Do you see yourself like getting a big chunk? Say you get up to that 10 million EBITDA, right? And you sell it for 10x multiple, so $100 million valuation. They come in with a $49 million check to be 49% owners. Say, here, Josh, here you go. Keep scaling. Does that sound?
That's it.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, that sounds great, and I would stay on, because
Yeah.
I love what I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. I was telling Ara this yesterday. I was like, I think about this stuff when I wake up, and I think about it before I go to bed every night.
Yeah.
And so I love what I do, and absolutely I would take stock.
Yep.
So any PE companies out there listening,
For sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
love
I think that answered Shane's question well, which was, is your goal to buy and hold your whole portfolio, or do you have to looking to bundle to sell the private equity?
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
That's the plan. So we want to get up to 10 million, and then we'll at least start getting on the radar of those companies. Right now, anything under 10 million, they're really not interested.
How are you got the property management business, and then you got this awesome C-suite business acquisition business as well. Do they combine at all? Does the C-suite go over the real estate and the business acquisition side?
Yes. So the C-suite manages all of the entities. So we have the property management company. We have a med spa in Orlando. We have 2 NEMT companies in Orlando, 1 in Lakeland. We have a special need transportation company in Boston. We have the property management company in New Orleans. And then we're under contract right now to acquire another special need transportation company in Chicago.
Nice.
So and so the C-suite handles all that. Ara and the team, they handle the ops. They handle the accounting. We have a full back end accounting team. That's another advantage that we bring to the table, is that when we acquire a company, most of the time we can eliminate the accounting department because of our back-end accounting team. So usually when we look at that accounting line item on there, we generally just eliminate it because we have it already in-house. So we have a full accounting team that's managed by our CFO, John, he's phenomenal. So.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, having a strong financial team is so important, right?
Yeah.
And your ability to grow is only going to be as strong as your accounting team.
Oh, without a doubt.
Super cool.
Yeah, I love the transportation vertical, just like thinking through it, like you're creating so many efficiencies right off the bat. Like you acquire another transportation, whether it's the special needs or the NEMT, and you're just able to share resources essentially.
Yep.
And do you see trends? So you have different markets, like there's different things that occur or challenges within a business that you create an efficiency. Do you automatically like implement those in the other companies because you're like, I know what's coming?
We do. So we're kind of watching technology as it evolves. I'm really, there's part of me that was concerned about the way technology and autonomous vehicles are starting to become prevalent, So that's one thing we're watching and trying to see how that's going to play a part in what we're doing. We are a very small niche in the fact that the special need transportation sector, we can't have autonomous vehicles for some of the children that we take.
That makes sense.
So we feel very comfortable in that aspect. The NEMT side, same thing. I've been reading a lot of surveys and things like that in regards to the autonomous vehicles, and the surveys are: would you get into an ambulance with not a human driving, and you're in an emergent situation? Probably not, So, but then again, down the road, that could happen, So we feel that it would actually help us if we were able to get those vehicles. We may be able to reduce payroll, but there's a lot on the horizon. That's probably for a couple of years down the road, and we're thinking about it. We're trying to we want to stay ahead of the curve. We're doing it right now with our software. So we have all of our customers, all of our clients, they're able to use our app and they're able to book just like Uber now. So not many companies are doing that.
That's
and
amazing.
So we're kind of we're leading the charge.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So say someone is out there listening, or me,
Okay.
and they wanted to start acquiring businesses. What would you say like the first step would be for them, whether they had money, didn't have money, or anything in between?
So the one thing I did when I first wanted to acquire a business, but also too when I first wanted to start investing in real estate, this is going to sound so like woo-woo in a way, but I started manifesting it. I started thinking about, I started acting as a real estate investor. What do I mean by that? I started acting as a business acquisition, buyer. What do I mean by that? So what I did was I went actually and started calling brokers, started pretending as if I was going to buy the company. I requested the NDAs. I requested the SIMs, the financial packages. I reviewed them. I underwrote all the deals. I went through the entire motion as if I was going to go acquire the deal. And then I didn't acquire the deal because I didn't have the money at the time. So once I got through that phase, I got the confidence and I felt comfortable speaking to the brokers, speaking to sellers, going on the meetings, doing the whole thing. Then I was like, okay, now I just need to go out and raise the money.
Yeah.
So, and I already knew how to do that. So so that's essentially what I did. I went and I taught myself. And, I always say, experience builds confidence. So the more you do it, the more confident you're going to get, and the more people are going to believe in you and you're actually going to perform. So for anybody out there or for yourself, if you're looking to go acquire a business, that's what I would do. I would start going to biz by sell, but lock in on what vertical, what sector you want to invest
like
in
that.
on.
Yeah.
And then, also figure out your capital stack, figure out, where you're going to get their money from, or you're going to use your own money, or you're going to go to somebody else's money.
Yeah.
Maybe even talk to an SBA lender, find out whether or not you can get pre-approved. You can do all these steps without spending a dollar.
Yeah.
And you can learn how the process works, learn how these brokers think, how the sellers operate, what they're thinking in their heads, because it's definitely an art. It's not something that you can just, like you wholesale a property, right? You pick up the phone, you just running a few numbers, doing an ARV, running through your, rehab budget, and then bam, you pop it on the market. It's a little bit more intricate, you know, but it's not as scary as people think.
Right. There's so many similarities to real estate.
It really is.
I could see it I'm thinking of like a multi-family apartment complex, just going through the deal, analyzing everything.
I was on the call today. I was on the phone today with somebody, Luke, and they were asking me a similar thing. They were like, how do you find your deals and where do you go? And I said, think about it this way. How many people throughout the day you walk in or on the phone and you pay? Like, think about it. Look at your credit card statement. Look at all the companies you pay.
A lot.
Yeah, right. But those are all potential acquisitions.
Yeah.
You know
Amazon?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about Amazon, but you know what I mean? Like, your dog groomer, right?
Yeah.
Your car wash that you go to.
Quick Trip.
Yeah. There you go.
You're going with the big boys.
I am. Yeah.
So, you think about it that way, then you'll have a more abundance mindset and start thinking about, oh, wow, there's so many opportunities around here that you can acquire. You just have to find out who the owner is and talk to them and see if they're interested.
Another similarity I see, or correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but a cheaper company, lower barrier of entry, but maybe a little more headaches that come with it, similar to real estate. If you go a more valuable company, hopefully things are a little more in line and running smooth. Is there ever a point where What's the most expensive company you bought so far?
It would be the Chicago one. We're at $3.5 million.
$3.5 million. So a company like that, would you say there's less work on your end?
Absolutely.
When you go, okay.
Yeah. So my philosophy is I'd rather overpay for a great company than underpay for a shitty company.
Yep, for sure.
I've done the shitty company route. Not interested anymore. So it's just like in real estate. You can go and buy a rehab, in a company. I don't recommend it because it's a lot of work and you could really lose, and there's no way of like disposing of the asset like real estate and sell it off. It takes like probably a year to sell a company, so it's not like a quick liquidity event.
Right. Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I love the talk about all the reps. Like I kind of think of it like you had the donut on the bat for the longest time, and you were running the trials, or taking those practice swings, and then you took the donut off the bat, and like you were ready to
and then execute it. That was it. And that's that's where a lot of people I think go wrong, is that they're so afraid to just start. They're so afraid to just pick up the phone and make that first phone call, and it's a lot easier than you think. And once you get over that hump and you make that phone call and you speak to the broker, you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
And then you realize, wow, I can actually do this. And you just got to start. And like you said, just take the donut off the bat and just keep going, keep swinging.
Analysis paralysis with a single family home. Think about a 3.5 million business.
For sure.
It's probably tenfold, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mark up there, King and Nola?
I do. I know Mark,
right.
yes.
Yeah, shout out to Mark. Yeah,
yes.
Thanks for watching, man. Very cool. So I'm talking about other people's money and some of these deal structures, and maybe how you structure the other people's money, and then what kind of returns those investors are getting.
Great question. So we do an equity raise, or we'll do a debt raise. So two different scenarios. I've done equity and I've done debt. I personally like debt.
Me too.
The reason why I like that is because I own 100%, and I just owe you the money, and I'm going to pay you a fixed return.
It's simpler. It simplifies things.
Absolutely.
Too.
It takes the pressure off of me.
Right.
We have some deals that we have equity in. We have some equity investors,
Yeah.
and it's just there's a lot of pressure to perform.
Yeah.
And I
Giving
just
them
don't.
K1s every
Exactly.
year.
Yeah. I don't like it. So I went to the. I like going to the debt side. We do anywhere between 12 to 15. I've done 18 just to get it over the finish line. And that's worked very well.
Is that a monthly payment or a quarterly payment?
Monthly payment. Pay 'em monthly. 12 months locked up.
Interest only.
Interest only. Yep.
Yeah.
And then principal at the end of the term. So.
Okay. And it's a 12-month term usually. Did you say?
I do 12-month on the debt side. Yep.
So what does that look like to buy them out of that?
Yeah.
At the end of the term.
Yeah. So typically we're using the cash flow from the company to use that to pay back the down payment over year one.
Okay.
Yeah. And it generally we have no problem meeting that goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have to do like any sort of like registration with the SEC or anything like that, or is it pretty simple?
Yeah, so we have a fund
Yeah.
that we that's SEC registered, and we raise money through that. But some of the first early on deals was oh God, I don't know if the SEC is watching here,
No.
but early on,
You're good.
we just raised regular money through regular investors and people we knew.
Nice.
On the debt side.
It says right here, Josh, nothing off limits.
Except for security questions. Yes, I could see my attorneys right now going, "Oh my goodness, he didn't just say that." No.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Cool. So you're when do you close on the Chicago property?
We are about 45 days out. We're through due diligence now. We were just in Chicago 2 weeks ago. We're in Wakanda, Illinois.
Really?
Wakanda.
That sounds like a Marvel movie.
It was.
Wakanda forever.
That's what we were doing on the way there.
Yeah, no, I've seen it a lot.
Yes. Yeah. So
so 45 days.
45 days.
So you'll close on it, and that's pretty much all your focus is get that to closing
Correct.
line, and then close on it, figure out what you guys can tweak, and then implement those changes, and then you'll start going off and look for the next acquisition. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have to do a forecast. So we did a forecast for the SBA. And we did a forecast, and we kind of have an idea of what we're thinking that we're going to be able to do in year one. And I think that's very important. That even if you're not doing an SBA loan, I think you should also do a forecast because you want to see really what you're going to be able to accomplish. And once we sat down as a team and we did the forecast, and we found that we were able to shave off so many expenses. And then not to mention too, the way we were able to increase revenue by, you're going and looking at other competitors and figuring out what they're charging and realizing, holy crap, like we're really undercharging these people. So, and then we're providing a great service. So you want to make sure you're charging for it. Our philosophy is, we provide a premium product and we charge a premium price.
Yeah.
And that's just how we operate. So we do the forecast and that's pretty much it. And we realize now we're going to be able to really increase the value of this company from day one, and we're really, really excited. So after that, we'll get this one off the ground. Our C-suite team will go there. They'll implement and embed themselves there probably for a couple of weeks. And once they get it nice and running smoothly, they'll exit out of there. We'll make sure the management team's in place, running, doing exactly the vision that we have executed, and then we'll be off and on to the next one.
Yeah, so closing date 45 days from now, like how much of like the strategy and changes do you already know about that you're going to implement?
We actually already have a game plan. We already know we already have a game plan. We know the customers we're going to increase the prices on. We know where we're going to be cutting expenses. We've already engaged our insurance broker to get competitive rates. That's the other thing too, guys, is that when you start scaling, and Luke, you probably know this with your real estate portfolio. Insurance right now is like the elephant in the room. Yeah. But for us, as you start to scale, we have all these vehicles and we have all these assets. We're able to utilize that to our advantage and get a better rate. So we were actually able to get a really, really, really competitive rate for our insurance for our vehicles and reduce our insurance expense by almost 40%.
Wow.
So as soon as we close, we're getting immediate savings of 40% when we close.
So are you bundling with the same provider pretty much?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. So your $3.5 million deal, super cool deal, it sounds like, up in Chicago. So SBA for 90% of that is what you're saying?
SBA 90.
So 3.15, give or take, million.
Actually, I take that back. We did SBA 80, 10% seller carry.
Nice.
And then we're doing 10% equity.
Nice. So you raised $350,000, give or take.
That's it.
Nice. Yep. By a couple partners, 1, 2, 3.
It took us probably one day, if not even.
Nice.
We did we did a webinar. We did a quick 20, 30-minute webinar.
Nice.
And raised it right after the end of the webinar.
That's awesome, man.
It was
Good
great,
for you.
man. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So would you say what are your limiting factors for you as you continue to scale this cool vertically integrated holding company?
You know, I'll be honest with you. You know, limiting factors. I'm in a different place, you know, as far as like mindset goes. And again, I give a lot of credit to Mike back there because, you know, I was in survival mode for a very long time, and now I'm in creation mode. And man, what a great place to be. I'm doing things now that I never thought that I could do. And you know, when we're presented a deal, we really realistically look hard at it, and we believe as a team that we could take on any deal.
Yeah.
And you know, having that mindset and having that confidence and being able to move forward and take down a deal of any size is pretty powerful. And yeah, so but I wouldn't be able to do that if I was living in survivor mode like I was before. So
Yeah, we have. So let's talk about that mindset a little bit.
Sure.
You've mentioned on other podcasts, talk about like cold plunges and saunas, genetic testing.
Yes.
You know, just working out in general. And do you want to talk about any of those in specific or all those as a whole, and maybe how those have impacted your physical health and how that has translated to your mindset of an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. So I got started on this journey, this health kick journey, about a year ago. I started doing intermittent fasting, and I lost about 60 pounds or so.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I'm like half the person I was before. So
yeah,
it was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's congrats.
Yeah,
first of all.
I feel great. So I did intermittent fasting. I eat one meal a day, but like the past 2 days I've been here, for some reason these guys have been making me eat like
Just
lunch.
shoving food
That's
down
it,
your
shoving
mouth.
food down
Just
my mouth.
ravioli.
They're like, it's okay, it's your metabolism.
Emos. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, so I did the intermittent fasting, lost a lot of weight, felt really, really good. But then also that like kind of snowballed into starting to do this other health journey, which is the sauna and the cold plunges. And I believe in it. I 100% believe in it because it has absolutely changed the way I think. It's changed the way I feel. So every day my routine is I wake up at between 4:30 and 5 a.m. I don't miss a day. 7 days a week I do this. Wake up in the morning, I go to the sauna, spend about 30 to 45 minutes in the sauna, and then I immediately hop out of there. I spend about 3 to 6 minutes into the cold plunge, and I get out of there and I feel like Superman, like superhuman. And I go back, I start my day. But the great thing is I get a head start on the day, and I feel great. I'm checking emails. My calendar's already cleaned up. I mean, before anybody is like hitting the snooze button in the morning, I'm already rolling, you know?
Yeah.
So it has changed the way I act as an entrepreneur, as a leader for my team. You know, they're looking up to me. They want to see, I mean, you know, you don't want to take advice from a guy that's unhealthy, eats bad, you know, looks like shit, you know, like nobody's going to look up to that person, you know?
Right.
So I knew that I needed to make a change. I scale back my alcohol intake.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of things. It's just all snowballed. Like one thing led to another. I did genetic testing. I got a swab in my mouth. I figured out what supplements I needed to take to, you know, to fix whatever it was I had going on in here. And so I'm on that now. I started doing some peptide therapy as well. So
Nice.
I'm doing that. And man, I just feel awesome, and I feel like I'm ready to conquer the world. I promise you, I'm not like doing drugs.
Well, we
OPM.
we talked about Elon Musk's ketamine usage last episode. So
boy.
any ketamine dribs?
You know, I haven't done no, not into the ketamine stuff.
Yeah,
So,
well, I don't know. I might give it a try. So.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No, I won't. I don't need that.
I love the daily repetition, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I think starting the day off, doing those actions, and like being consistent with it. Like we talk about success in real estate specifically, but it's like it's not going to happen day one.
Yep.
Probably won't happen day 30, and so on. But it's like if you're consistently doing these positive actions, like you will see results. So it's showing up for yourself and being accountable. Like that's the key in my eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the great thing is like, again, it goes back to like I was saying earlier about how people want the instant results. They want the instant gratification. And for me, it was like, I know it's going to come. I just got to stick with it and be consistent. And once you start doing something, it's like almost you form a habit. I was telling Ara this the other day. I said that, you know, I am like addicted to it now. Like if I miss a day, I'm like going nuts. Like I don't know, I can't even like function. And so, which it's a great addiction to have, and so I do it every day. And
What do you do on the road?
Yeah.
what's that?
What's the game plan on the road?
I
Mike's got a lake.
I ask Ara. She goes and calls and finds me a place. Make sure we can plunge, and we make sure at minimum and make sure I can do the sauna. So wherever we go, whatever hotel we stay in, we always ask if they have a plunge or if they have a sauna.
Yeah.
And I do it. I don't miss.
Nice.
Yeah.
How you like the Four Seasons? I've done a couple staycations there.
Yeah,
It's a good
man.
time.
I was in the spa there earlier
Yeah.
today. It was a great place.
Spa.
Yeah,
It's got a great spa.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Looking over the muddy Mississippi.
Oh yeah, nothing like. I mean, it's just like home, you know.
yeah. You could,
Same
cool.
exact. I live in the Four Seasons and in New Orleans at home, so
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with the muddy Mississippi. Literally, I felt like I was at home. So
Yeah.
this is like a second home for me in St. Louis.
Yeah. So are you from New Orleans, Josh?
I am.
Nice.
I'm born and raised in New Orleans and lived there all my life, and yeah, man, wouldn't live anywhere else.
That's all. What's your favorite part about New Orleans?
I would say, unfortunately, I don't eat as much as I used to, but
Yeah.
the food is so damn
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
You just can't go wrong with the food and the culture, the people. Everybody's just so nice. That Southern hospitality
Yeah.
is so true. In New Orleans, everybody is like family. The one thing we ask in New Orleans, it's not like, "Hey, where'd you go to college?" It's, "Hey, where'd you go to high school?"
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
That's
'Cause
here, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just I don't know. We have a great community, great people, and incredible food. Where everybody's always down to party.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
So it's always a good time. Laissez le bon temps rouler. So
What does that mean?
let the good times roll.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Yep.
That's a hard one to roll off the tongue. I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
practice that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a ton of similarities between St. Louis and New Orleans, and I think there's a lot of influences that translate. So it's probably not the Southern hospitality, but
It's that Midwest hospitality,
Yeah,
though,
yeah.
because I think I will stay here because of the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe not the food as much, but
Yep.
because the kind people and who we surround ourselves with is why I'm here.
Hey man, Birdie told me something like you guys are trying to do like bring an NBA team or something here. Is that like legit?
That is the long-term goal. Yes.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
acquisitions guy, right?
Well,
Yeah,
hey,
he would help me structure it.
I'm interested. So
Dude,
let's do it.
Let's do it together.
Yeah, that would
It'd
be
fun.
awesome.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys got an NBA team, Pelicans, right?
They're on a roll right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been to a couple games with your
I
kids,
have.
right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. I'm a season ticket holder.
Oh, that's
and,
awesome.
Yeah, so I love it, man.
I would do that in St. Louis.
Look, I'll tell you a story too. Like I actually was not a basketball fan until I started watching my kids play.
Yeah.
And then I started really getting into. I didn't know like what a foul was. I had no
Right.
idea what dribbling and all this stuff was. I was a football guy, so I started watching them play basketball.
Yeah.
And then I saw how fun and how interactive it was. And then we started going to Pelicans games, and like now I am like a diehard.
Yes.
So
That's
I
so
love
cool.
basketball. Yeah.
Me too, man.
So-
Yeah, I grew up playing it, so I'm glad you came to the good
Oh, yeah,
side
that's
there.
it.
And but seeing your kids play it is like
Oh, yeah.
way different. Like your love for it is just so much more.
Yeah.
Because it kind of like rejuvenates all those juices that you probably once had back in the day.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah. So you
Man-
gotta tread carefully. You're
Yes.
like,
No, man, I get it. And like I told my daughter, I was like, that's like one of the highlights of my day is like when she tells me, she's going to play basketball or going to play softball.
Yeah.
Like, as grueling sometimes as her softball games are, like I love watching her play. She plays catcher, and it's really fun to watch her. And my son played basketball. He was a freaking animal. Like he was an animal on the court.
on the boards.
Yeah,
Defense.
Oh,
and
he
all
was.
that,
He played D, and but he was a quarterback back in the day, so he would play quarterback, and then he transitioned over to basketball, and he used to like throw, like literally he would be on defense on one side of the court, and he would throw the ball like the quarterback all the way to the other side of the court, and like these kids were getting the ball dribbling, and he was all the way down there, and they would score. Like it was just one play that he did
was
because he
just
had
dropping
the
dimes.
arm.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing, and I'm like, but he loved it. He was so jacked up. He was so intense, and he would just
Love it.
stand there in the paint, like just taking a what do you call that? A
Charge.
He would
Yeah.
just take the charge and like,
And
and he
just,
would
like,
get up and be
just
like,
like-
yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
And I loved it as a dad. I would
Yeah.
get so jacked up and so excited. So
Yes.
you could tell my passion for it.
I can,
love it.
man. Just
Yeah.
the sports side, obviously. Just being a dad, though, I can
Yeah.
tell your passion. Tell me,
Oh, yeah.
tell us what being a dad means to you, man.
Yeah, man. I look forward to spending time with them. I look forward to, honestly, I was at Mike's mastermind the other a couple of months ago, and we were talking about our vision, right, and what we saw, in the next 5-10 years in our vision. And the one thing that kept popping up in my vision was my kids and my business. And so how crazy how things just work out the way they are. My son is now 17. He'll be 18 in a couple months. And he's working now in my company. He started just like I was. He's working in the property management company. He's doing maintenance. He's learning how to do make readies. He's cutting grass. He's trimming out properties, doing all that. So that is really exciting for me to see them, because I envision them at some point in the conference rooms running the companies when I'm long gone.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to that. But I got to see them. They're older now. My daughter's Gabby. She's 14 now, so they're starting to get to the end of their the toddler phase, or whatever you want to call it. They're teenagers now, so they don't really want to hang out with me anymore. So I'm like too cool, to hang out with them. So it is what it is. But I love being a dad, man. They're great kids. They've tested me now in their teenage years. But it's I wouldn't trade it anything for the world.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to Gabby and Preston, right?
Yes,
Shout out to
absolutely.
those guys.
Yep.
Super cool. So Alex Hormozy has a business model where he acquires businesses as well. I think $1 to $10 million EBITDAs. Is that different than your model, you would say, or is it kind of similar?
No, it's actually very similar. What he's doing exactly is very similar to what we're trying to accomplish. Hormozy will do the same thing. He'll go out and acquire a company, put it under his holding company, and then he'll probably at some point, grow his conglomerate and sell off to PE. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We want to do the same thing, probably on maybe a smaller scale. We don't have the name recognition and brand as he does to be able to attract all the quality businesses, but we're going to give our damnness and try to continue to bring quality businesses under our enterprise company, and hopefully be able to exit some of these operators that would never ever be able to experience the multiple of cash flow that we would be able to bring to the table just because of the volume of business we'll have.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
going back to your kids really quick, and kind of your journey, obviously started, kind of went that traditional route with college, wasn't for you, but like what lessons have you imparted from your journey to your kids throughout? Like, is traditional the only path, or like have you shown them the light that there's other options out there to be successful, be wealthy, be fulfilled, all of those great things?
Yeah, my daughter, I love her to death, but I think she's she has a creative mind. I don't know if I see her in the companies. I don't know if she wants to transition over. She, you got to remember, like, I was grinding it out, for the first 15 years of my life. Not where I am now. And, they got to see the nitty gritty. I remember we used to take our daughter and on showings for rental property. Now we don't actually show any properties anymore. Everything's done virtually.
Yep.
So I'm sure you guys do the same. But we used to take her on showings, and I remember, we would take her and she would be in her carrier, in the showing, and she was just sitting there with a bottle in her mouth, just like rocking away and just showing the property, and then getting applications, doing all that. So they got to see that as an early age, and I think for her, I think it may have scarred her, and she's like, I just don't want to do what you do. And but my son, he actually took a really big interest in it, and he wants to learn. He propositioned me the other day on like an Amazon drop shipping business. He took he did a webinar for one of the coaches, and he's like, Dad, we should do it. The blah blah blah. This is what we need to do. And so he's starting to get the acquisition itch, which is amazing. And so so we're so as far as things I've imparted on them, I would say that I told them that if you don't go to college, I'm not going to be upset. I believe that it's not for everybody. I told them, if you plan to go to college and you plan to get something at the end of your name, like if you're going to get an ESQ, or you're going to be an attorney, or you're going to be a doctor or a PhD, whatever, go to college. But if you're going to go and you're going to go for English, you're going to go for business, just come work for me, and I can teach you everything you need to know.
Yeah. Way more than
Exactly.
you could learn from a 4-year degree, for
Absolutely.
sure. Super cool. So got Josh Wilson here, business acquisition badass, let's just say. Got a couple questions out here. FasterFreedom Show. Sam's on vacation. He'll be back next Friday, so a week from today will be his next show back. You got myself and Matt Lauman, different Matt, will be hosting next Wednesday, but we'll have Sam back next Friday for sure. So Josh in the house, Josh Wilson just giving us a master class on life, being a dad, and business acquisitions. Before we get into some fun stuff here to wrap up the show, any final words you'd like to leave our listeners with, or motivate? You love motivating, right? So anything for them today?
Yeah, I think it's just, get rid of that analysis paralysis that you may have had in real estate, and don't carry it over to the business side. If and also too, don't just exclude real estate. I think it's very important that you still have real estate in your life and your portfolio. I still do, and I always will. I think you absolutely need to include that. But use business acquisitions for what it is, and use real estate for what it is.
Yeah.
One's great to get the cash flow. The other's great to store the cash.
For sure.
You do that, you will win, and you will be very, very successful.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
How can these people get a hold of you or follow you, or what does that look like?
Yeah, on Instagram and on Facebook at The Real Josh Wilson. I am The Real Josh Wilson.
Yes.
There are no fakes.
Yeah.
So I'm on Instagram and TikTok and all that. Just look up The Real Josh Wilson, and you'll find me.
Awesome, man. Love it.
Yeah.
Any final questions for Josh
No.
before we get into
Thanks,
Would
Josh.
You
That's
Rather?
awesome. I'm ready.
Ready for Would You Rather, guys?
Oh,
It's going to
boy.
be fun.
Let's
we're,
do it.
We're going to wing it. All right. We're all going to answer these questions. We
Yep.
got 3 questions on Would You Rather, okay? All right. Would you rather only be able to drink hot beverages or only be able to eat cold food?
Cold food every day of the week.
What's cold sushi?
Cold food. I mean, like sandwiches.
Sandwiches? What's your favorite
I eat
sandwich,
steak.
Sieb?
I mean, Italian sub.
That's what you go, your favorite
Yeah.
sandwich. All right.
I could live.
Oh
off
yeah,
that.
Chicago guy, right?
Yeah, live off that. I mean, it's not me because I always eat the steak, but like my wife will bring home steak, sits in the fridge. I don't even warm it up.
So you're good
What?
with cold food.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
even warm it up.
I know. Well, it's a sin first that she had leftover steak.
Oh, Jesus.
If you were there with her, you'd finish it for her.
Yeah. So she'll go to like journal clubs and come home with this feast, and she puts it in the fridge. I'm like, one, you should have told me or woke me up.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Oh, my
down for
goodness.
this.
Yes.
But,
Have
yeah.
you ever ate your wife's leftovers without like asking?
There's stuff where she's like, "Where's that pasta con broccoli?" I'm
Yeah.
like, haven't seen it.
It
it's,
is-
it's right there in the old stomach.
It is like a no-go in our house. I've done it once. I will never do it again.
Do you have labels on stuff?
No,
like, this
no.
is
Like it's
Ashley's.
in my fridge. You would think it's free game, right? But I ate some.
Well, I would
chicken
rock
nuggets
your
one
world.
time.
I just don't even eat leftovers.
Yeah.
I can't even do it.
Oh, I love
I just,
leftovers.
cannot
They're
do
better.
it. I go look in the fridge and I just smell it and I'm like, it's just not the same.
Oh,
Like
I like it better. I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, to each
That's
his
why.
own.
All right. So, cold food.
Cold food. What
I'm gonna
about
go
you?
with hot because I'm gonna rattle off my Starbucks order,
Yeah.
which is hot white chocolate mocha, non-fat, no whip, extra shot, and
Wow.
like that is.
That sounds delicious.
I could drink that every day
Yeah.
for the rest of my life.
You have
and,
to,
and I,
yeah.
not even miss a beat. Like
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I'd be good.
Yeah,
So.
you put that on top of the cold plunge in the sauna. You're probably all gassed up
Yeah.
at 5 a.m.
That's it. Let's go.
But then we got to hydrate. So you're hydrating off of like hot
Off
water.
of hot water and caffeine. And,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good. But hey, if I had to choose, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a cold beverage in my life, whether it's, something good or just a cold glass of water. I have to do that. Man, but not eating hot food would suck.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do the cold food as well, I think. You okay
Good.
with that?
I'm good.
All
yeah.
right.
Thank
Cool.
you.
All right. Next one. Would you rather experience the beginning of the universe or witness its end?
Ooh, dang. I think I would go with the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the end.
Me neither.
I just want to know like when we're starting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think at the end, right, you'll probably be with your loved ones, but you'll die with them.
Right.
So not, either way. But at the beginning, it'll be a little lonely, probably.
Yeah.
Not a whole
I'm with
bunch
you.
of other, beings around with you. But at least you get to know what happened. and how we got
Exactly. You
started.
get to see the whole evolution and how
Yeah.
everything got started. So I don't know if I want to see the end. I feel like I vision the end like things exploding and like me running down the street.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like a great ending.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What about
I'm gonna
you?
go with the
Steve?
beginning as well. I
Yeah.
just think beauty versus destruction.
Yeah.
I just see it
Yeah.
very similar. It's like a Jason Statham movie. Like there's
Yes.
gonna be explosions and
Oh,
who
yeah.
knows what's
Yeah.
happening.
It
But
sounds awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, question number 3. Would you rather get up early or stay up late? I probably know his answer.
I would rather get up early, but I stay up late.
Yeah.
So there's a difference there. But I would rather get up early.
Yeah.
Start the day like Josh. do the cold plunge, do the sauna. Mike Kitko is going to tell me right after this that you can do it. It's your limiting belief.
That's it. It's just stories you're telling yourself.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That sounds a lot like Mike.
I've heard the message.
Yeah.
I just haven't implemented it yet.
Yeah.
So let's go with get up early.
Okay, cool. What about you?
Yeah,
Josh?
get up early. I mean,
Yeah.
I already do it, so it's part of my life now.
Yeah.
So absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I am for sure a night owl, or at least I was. I can't stay up past 9:30 anymore.
Yeah.
But man, if I got to get something done, I can work late into the night when it quiets down a little bit. But would you rather? You're right. Yeah, I'd rather start my day at 4 a.m. and cold plunge and work out and do all the good stuff to hit the ground running for sure. Cool. All right, guys. Before we throw these outlines into the trash can from behind the line, we're going to shoot.
Oh, nice.
Any closing thoughts from you, my friend, Mr. Matt Sieb, and you, Josh Wilson?
Yeah, no, just amazing perspective from Josh here. Obviously, loved just the journey that you've taken. I love hearing these college dropout stories. I hate using the word dropout, but
Quitter.
yeah. But it's
Wear it proudly.
You found your passion. Like that's what I got out of this whole journey.
Yeah.
Like you found something you love. You're extremely successful. You're going to an industry that you're well versed in, and you're making it better, and you're serving people. So I love just the success story, the steps you took. Didn't happen overnight. We talked about this immediate gratification. It doesn't happen.
Right.
So like you kept going when times might have been tough, times might have been great, but like you kept putting one foot in front of the other, 1% better every day, and you're here. You're super successful, and this is not the end of the journey. So we're just getting
started, man. Yeah. That's the great thing. And you mentioned something about finding your passion. You know, I know that's a big saying out there. People say, find your passion, and the money will come. I actually don't believe in that. I think that if you go out to the marketplace and you find something you're good at and you can make a lot of money at, you will eventually get very, very passionate. And that's what happened to me. I found something in the very beginning. I was not excited about where I was, but I was making a ton of money. And then I started getting really excited as we started buying more and more. And now I'm really, really passionate about it.
Yeah. And I think there's something to say about being able to be passionate about a lot of different things, but being able to, like, for example, like, maybe you're not the most passionate about transportation, but you love the deal structure and business acquisition side of things.
Yes.
So I think you can find your passion in a lot of different industries.
Absolutely.
Is what I'm kind of saying there.
Love that.
Took me a while to say that. But anyway, thank you so much, Josh. We're lucky to have you.
Yes,
Flew
thank
up
you.
from NOLA.
NOLA, baby.
And, you gave it to everybody today, and we appreciate it. We're lucky to have you.
Yeah,
So thank you
thank
so
you.
much. All right, we're going to trash it. You guys ready to trash it?
Trash it.
So everybody crumble up the one-pager. You can crumble up.
This one?
Yeah,
Perfect.
here you go. Crumble up that one, and we're all going to shoot, and whoever misses has severe consequences. All right?
boy.
All right, so.
Here we go. Are we doing this same
At
time?
the same time.
Oh, boy.
2, 3.
Oh, jeez. We all missed. So is that it? It's over?
Just C made it. He'll count for me that time. All right, guys. Every Wednesday and Friday, 1:30 Central Time live. We are here. FasterFreedom Show. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. We hope you got some major value from our conversation. If you love what you learn, make sure you like, rate, review the show, and help us spread the word by telling a friend.
If you'd like to learn more about working with me inside one of my programs, we'll have those links in the show notes, along with all our social media handles, so you connect with us there for free. If there's a real estate question you'd like us to answer, feel free to send us a message and we'll cover it in an upcoming show.